everyone, and welcome to the Chrissy B Show, and we're the program that looks after your mental health and well-being. So today we look into a difficult topic of discussion, one which has affected 1 in 7 workers in the UK since the start of the recession in early 2008. That is, of course, redundancy. Here to prepare us and give us his top tips for those facing redundancy is our self-development coach, Chris Browne. Chris will be joined by Lloyd Achampong, who'll be telling me how he turned his redundancy into a positive event. Then Dr. Hicks will be on hand to answer all of your medical questions, and Helena Chard will be here to give us the week's mental health news in Behind the Fame. We'll also see a video courtesy of the Mental Health Channel about how one young woman in desperate need of a transplant is managing to stay positive despite time quickly running out. We also feature Restaurant Sano to go for a demo of how to make something nutritious and delicious, and I'll be giving you my tips on how to stay positive in difficult times. Now, unfortunately, there's a link between depression and redundancy here in the UK. One study found that those regions of the United Kingdom experiencing the highest rises in unemployment after 2008 also experienced the greatest increases in suicide. We wanted to hear how some of you have been affected by the issue, so we took to Twitter to find out. Sue is helping us define the term. She says ceasing to carry out work at a location is redundancy, even when the job still exists somewhere else, relocation. Sarah says redundancy, job hunting, rejection, stressed, need I say any more? Tom reminds us of the perils of redundancy. He says, of course there's always redundancy to worry about, even if one does that elusive permanent job, but still. And reverse headhunting tell us to keep moving forward. Redundancy is tough and can hit one hard on many levels. It's time to grasp the nettle and accept it. Well, some interesting thoughts, but don't fear, as we'll later find out it really isn't all doom and gloom. So let's get started with some positive news in Behind the Fame with Helena Chard. Welcome to the show, Helena.
Thank you, Chrissy.
So what do we have in Behind the Fame today?
Right, today we've got lots of lovely things. So Leonardo DiCaprio, who I love, actually, I think he's a great actor. And what I love about him is he's such an earthy person. He's looking out for the environment all the time and endangered animals and various things. And actually I learned about the vaquita porpoise. Oh. Now, I've never seen, well, I wouldn't have seen, but even visually seen a porpoise, and they're beautiful. They're tiny little animals. But anyway, the reason why I'm talking about it is he continues to protect endangered species, and this vaquita porpoise, they're beautiful. There's only 30 of them left.
Oh, okay. Really? Oh, gosh.
30 off of the Gulf of California.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I think the porpoises come in different sizes, and the vaquita are the smallest. And so he's been liaising with the Mexican president to say, hey, we've got to do something here. And it's to do with the illegal fishing of the toteba fish, which is something that's used in Chinese medicine. And the nets basically end up killing them, which is a real shame. But they're beautiful. They look like they've got black eyeliner on. They're silver in colour. They're like little mini dolphins, and they've got those beautiful little like red lips.
Okay,
this tiny little mouth, really great. But anyway, lovely, and he's always doing that. He's looking out for the environment all the time and giving speeches and things. So yeah, I really admire him for that. Talking of mouths, there are 2 students in America, and they have created an app to improve public speaking, which is really quite clever. And they were in America. I can't remember where they're from. I think they're from Asian descent, and they had very thick accents and were always very embarrassed at talking, couldn't really project, and that's what led to them coming up with this app. And it's one of those things that most people are really scared of public speaking, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Even more than death. I mean, it's an amazing, it's almost like an illogical kind of fear, isn't it? Anyway, but so this app, it gives people confidence and helps them speak powerfully, and it's really quite an intelligent app. So it's a fantastic thing they've done. I know. So it's called Orai. I think ORAI for iPhone, and I think normal things as well. So yeah, no, I thought that was really quite clever.
Yes, very clever.
Moving on to Prince Harry, along with the Queen.
Always got in the news.
So yeah, he's always in the news. But so they attended the At Queen's Young Leaders award ceremony at Australia House, and it's a really lovely thing. It's celebrating remarkable young leaders, but across the Commonwealth. So lots of different people came together and celebrated that, from 18 to 29 years old. And they're people that take lead in their communities, so use their skills to transform lives in, say, Africa or Canada or whatever. So really great people. I mean, really inspirational, and and also when they come over, they're also given mentoring things as well, and taught the importance of collaboration between the different countries, which is really special. So that's lovely. Moving on to another thing as well, which is great, is it's a great celebration called Grand Fest, which happens every year. I think it's happened for the last 3 years, and it's to celebrate the knowledge held by older people. And it's sharing skills that maybe like are disappearing, so traditional skills, passing it on to younger children. So, and this year it was at Spitalfield Market, and they had like 20 classes in different places, restaurants, pop-up shops, and pop-up stands where they do these things. And so they shared it, but I mean, I think it's really quite special, isn't it? And I really think it's always such a good thing when younger and older people come together, because they're taught so much. I mean, children can learn so much from older people. But funny enough, this is actually run by the Royal Voluntary Service, which keeps it's how to connect older people, really, so to keep them active. So it's something for them. But it's I think
did it say
really
what kind of skills they were teaching people?
Different things, from quilting, wood turning, bread making. Just different baking. It's just lovely things. Which is really lovely. I think it was the other week. But that's really lovely. Nice. So really sweet. So moving on to Emma Willis. So Emma Willis, who we know from Big Brother and various things, she's quite all on telly all the time, quite almost comical but not comical. She thought she had a really bad case of trapped wind, but actually she soon discovered, in fact, it was an infected appendix. Really? So she was rushed to hospital. She was in fact supposed to be taking her husband Matt Willis away for a birthday trip to Ibiza, but at 6 a.m. she found herself in Barnet General A&E. But the thing was, she was so thankful, and she was just saying how great all the crew were, and everyone that did her operation, everything, and the same thing, hashtag long live the NHS. So really, really special.
I can relate to that.
Yes.
Mine was the other way around. When I was a child, I thought it was my appendix, it was trapped wind. Got rushed to hospital. It was really painful though. Oh my goodness, it was. I could not even stand up.
It can be.
But that was.
So moving on to Rebel Wilson. She's actually a comedian, but she's also an actress, and she has recently won a defamation case. She had the Bauer Media Group, who started reportedly saying that she'd lied about her age, lied about her name, and how she'd been brought up and various things. And she found it was quite damaging to her. So she thought she wasn't going to allow the media to do that. The flip side of it, she won her case because it was unfair articles in about 8 magazines, and so she won a huge amount of money, but she's given every penny away to charity.
Really?
So all for good deeds, which is always really nice to hear.
Nice, definitely.
So they're my lovely stories. I'd like to tell you more stories, but I don't think I haven't got any time. As we don't have a cake, I shall talk about it. So Dinara Casco, who's a Ukrainian architect, very, very beautiful building she built. She's taken her design skills to another level and has realised she's fantastic at baking cakes, and that she uses a 3D printer as well to create these designs. So really special. I mean, not really special. I thought we could ask if she'd like to make a cake.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think I will. But she's also hosting masterclasses coming up in the next few weeks in Marylebone, London. It's the San Miguel experience, but she just uses all her surroundings to create these masterpieces. So I think we're going to be seeing one on our table soon.
Yes, we shall. Helena, thank you so much.
Thank you, Chrissy.
And we'll see you again next week for more Behind the Fame.
Thank you.
Alright guys, so on this show we do love to share great places to visit and bring you the best in healthy cooking. Well, here we have Danielle Shine and Heather Richards of restaurant Sano To Go to show us how to make a nutritious, healthy lemongrass dal.
Hi everyone, I'm Chef Danielle Shine and I'm here today with Heather from Sano To Go Restaurants and Sano School of Culinary Medicine. Thanks for having me, Heather.
Thank you, welcome.
I am so excited because we are going to be making something really healthy that is on your menu at Sano To Go Restaurant.
It's a coconut lemongrass dal.
Wow.
So very straightforward, easy to make, but absolutely delicious. We're going to start with the onions and the garlic, and we're just going to lightly saute that. Red onion's got some health benefits. The colour, the red you can see, that's due to flavonoids. and it helps release nitric oxide, and that helps your blood vessel relax.
Oh, okay.
So if your blood vessel relaxes, your blood pressure is going to
So great
reduce.
for anyone with high blood pressure.
Yep.
Get some red onion into your diet. So chopped garlic. I love the garlic as an antibacterial.
Yep.
I mean, that's just amazing.
Yep, we'll put in the chili,
Chilli.
green chili.
Now, is this hot?
Depends what you think hot is, but a little spicy. Again, it's got something called capsaicin in it.
Okay.
That has the same effect as those flavonoids in the red onion. This recipe is actually a recipe of Daal Pinnock.
And Daal is the medicinal chef.
Yes.
For those of you who don't know, Daal has actually written many cookbooks, and he's one of the founders of Sano.
He's one of the founders of Sano. Now, while that's doing, we're just going to do a bit of fun here, and we're going to bash the lemongrass.
Ooh, okay.
The reason for doing this is that it releases all of the essential oils.
With the lemongrass, you've chopped it up, popped it in there, but we're not going to eat that. We
We're
don't
not.
eat that part.
No, it's the essential oils that we want for the flavour.
So best to, if you use this, fish it back out. It's just for the oils encased inside.
Yeah.
This is one of my favourite salts. So a lot of people don't realise this. Sea salt has so many vitamins and minerals housed inside it. Table salt has nothing.
So now we're going to add the lentils and the coconut milk.
Okay.
Lentils are amazing for heart health,
Bowel
health.
When you're buying coconut milk, make sure you're looking on the ingredients at the back. You just want to see 100% coconut. You don't want to see any preservatives or added nasty things in there. And that's when it's not coconut milk anymore.
Pure coconut.
Yes.
And you can get it everywhere.
You can,
In all the supermarkets.
Yeah.
So we just leave that
So that's
few
going to
minutes.
soak. It looks like
That's
the
gonna
lentils.
soak. Exactly. And then we're
Wow.
going to very gradually just add in vegetable stock.
Do people need to watch it the whole time? Can they pour a little bit? Go and do
You
some.
can pour a little bit, but you don't want it to obviously burn.
No.
That's what we all do, isn't it?
Right.
We just run off and do
Maybe
something
I've
else.
done that once or
I've
5
done that a
times.
few times.
This is looking good.
It is. I think we're done. We're there. The lentils look nicely broken down.
How do we know when the lentils are cooked?
You can see that they're soft. You can always do a little
So I can
taste.
pick one up and...
Yeah, and also try it to see if it's nicely seasoned.
So if it's
but
too
taste-
chewy, leave it in, let it soak longer. If
Yeah.
it's not chewy,
Yeah,
ready.
As it's finished, I'm going to take the lemongrass stalks out.
Okay.
So we can just plate it up.
Time to plate up. Oh, this is the exciting part.
And then you can just garnish. We've got here
Okay.
some red chilli, some coriander, and some lime, which obviously when you eat it, you could squeeze the lime over. Just gives it extra flavour.
Chili is one of my favourite things. All right, Heather, is it
Brilliant.
time to taste?
It is, indeed.
Okay.
So,
Spoons. All right, cheers. Do we do a little?
cheers.
Cheers. Okay. Oh my goodness. That is so flavorful. Honestly, that is the most delicious dal I've ever tasted.
And you can see how easy it was.
Thank you very much to Danielle and Heather. Well, after the break, I'll be hearing Coach Chris Browne's 5 top tips for those facing redundancy, and he'll also be joined by Lloyd Achampong, who'll be telling me how he turned his redundancy into a positive event. But first, how many workers have been made redundant since the recession? Is it A, 1 in 4, B, 1 in 7, or C, 1 in 10? Do you know the answer? Tune in after the break and I'll tell you the correct one. Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, everyone, your TV program for all things mental health and well-being. So today we're talking all about redundancy, and before the break I asked you how many workers have been made redundant since the recession. Is it A, 1 in 4, B, 1 in 7, or C, 1 in 10? The answer is B, 1 in 7. Well, if you've been one of those affected, we have our resident career coach, Chris Browne, on hand to give his advice, and also his guest, Lloyd Achampong. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Evening, Chrissy.
Hi, Chrissy.
Lovely to have you on. So, Lloyd, we're going to speak to you in just a second,
Sure.
Chris, because you've got some tips for those that have been made redundant. But Lloyd, you were actually made redundant.
Yes.
So you're going to be telling us shortly what that was like for you, the kind of emotional pressure that you went through and everything like that. But let's start off with Chris. So before your tips, Chris,
Sure.
What is the problem with redundancy? Why does it affect people so much, would you say?
Well, redundancy, first of all, my sympathy to everybody going through that, because redundancy does a lot of things to an individual. You've got to think about it. If somebody calls in the office and says, look, we're going to lay some people off, we don't know who, you get a letter that says that, and then they start picking out those who came in last, depending on their wage and other things like this.
Yeah.
But then there's got to be a big concern. You've got your bills, your debts, your mortgage, your family, all these things are at stake at this point when somebody's speaking to you and saying, we're going to lay you off, we're going to make you redundant. So there's going to be panic that runs through that person's mind. But it's not always the worst thing. It's the worst thing, it's sort of scenario, glass full, half empty sort of thing, you know, because when you do, I mean, as Lloyd's going to explain, if you put it in the right context and you just take time to realise what's really going on and do a self-check, you find a way through that.
Okay, all right. So let's talk to you now, Lloyd. What exactly happened in your case?
In my case, well, earlier this year, I was called into a meeting with HR, so I didn't know what the meeting was about. I sat down with them and they kind of told me the new direction that the company was going and how this would affect my role within the company.
Okay.
And during the meeting, I was told that with the new direction, redundancies were at stake, and I was given an official letter which stated that I was at risk of redundancy.
Okay. How long had you worked for the company?
I'd been there for 4 years.
Oh, so it's quite a long time,
Yeah,
isn't
I'd
it?
been there for 4 years, yeah.
And obviously built relationships with people and like,
Exactly.
were you happy in that job?
Yeah, it was a good job. It was a good
Yeah.
job, but then at the same time, I kind of looked at it as maybe a blessing in disguise, because in the back of my mind, I felt like it was time to move on anyway.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
Okay.
so I kind of felt like everything happened at the right time.
Okay.
But obviously, at the same time, when you initially hear the word redundancy, you do have fear, anxiety, panic start to set in. I start to think about how am I going to provide for my family, how am I going to pay my bills, just how am I going to take care of myself, really. And all these things were going through my mind. It was a shock initially, but then I took the positive out of it.
Okay. And what was it that you were what was the worst thing about it? I know you sort of spoke about the anxiety and the panic and stuff like that, but was there anything within the whole process that was quite negative or that you felt affected you in any way?
I kind of felt like the process in itself, because I hadn't been through redundancy before, I didn't know what the end outcome would be. So it was kind of daunting because it was something I hadn't been through before.
Okay.
And they kind of asked me there and then, like, what was my thinking, because I was given two options. First option was I could stay with the company, but my role would change, the terms of my contract would change, but also my salary would stay the same. Or I could take the redundancy package being offered to me, but then obviously I'd have to seek employment elsewhere.
Did you find that a hard decision to make?
It was a difficult decision, and obviously they asked for a decision right there and then.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh God, you can't even take it home, discuss it with your family?
So
or
I kind of said, like, I can't make a decision right now. So if you give me 2 weeks, it gives me time to speak with my family, kind of discuss my options, and then they agreed to that.
Okay.
And then I kind of thought about where I wanted to be in my career and how I wanted to progress.
Okay.
And I took the bold step of deciding that I will take the redundancy package being offered to me and kind of seek employment elsewhere.
Okay. And did you find something straight away, or was it a bit of a process?
It was a process like everybody goes through when you're looking for work. Because I spoke to Coach Chris Browne, and we kind of discussed all my strengths and weaknesses, because I was kind of looking at what should be my next career choice.
Yeah.
So we went through my strengths and weaknesses, and I kind of realised with my experience and with my strengths, I was best suited for roles within the housing sector.
Okay.
So I started applying for jobs within housing, and like everybody goes through, you will get some unsuccessful applications. But within a couple of weeks, I received a job interview for a top housing company in Canary Wharf.
Wow.
Yeah, so before the interview, like a couple of days before the interview, I spoke with Coach Chris Browne again, and we went over some interview techniques, and he helped me in how to structure my answers and how to put myself across as an asset for a company, and like brand myself in the right way. And the interview went really well. It was really successful. So not only was I given a new job, I was given my full redundancy package, and I maintained a regular wage for myself and my family.
That's excellent news. Wow. It's really good. So how do you feel now that you're in your new job and everything?
I feel really good because the company that I'm at now is a top housing firm in Canary Wharf, and there's so many opportunities for me to progress and to go into bigger and better things. So I'm really, really in a happy place at the minute.
So it was a blessing in disguise,
yeah,
really, wasn't it?
Definitely it was, yes.
All right. So Chris, what did you see in our Lloyd here that, you know, what you helped him with?
Lloyd's got a lot of qualities. He's a real go-getter. We actually became friends. We met at a business event one time, and we've always been in touch since then. And Lloyd's always been the sort of person to go for it. But he's got these qualities where he stops, he thinks things out before he goes ahead. He doesn't just jump in there and all that. He's not, I wouldn't say he's an emotional guy in the sense that he takes it inside and then calmly thinks about it, about it, and then deals with it. So we was just breaking down some areas. And I saw his organisational skills, a lot of strengths that he had, and we got rid of the areas that were, let's say, the areas that we need to develop, because this was an emergency situation where he's going to be jumping from there to there. So we haven't got time to say, well, we've got to develop this, develop that, develop this. It was taking out all his strengths, putting them together, packaging it. Lloyd did it. He spoke to him on the phone, put it together, and went back out there.
Excellent.
And did the job.
Brilliant.
Did very well.
That's really great news. So Chris, you're going to, obviously you've helped Lloyd here, but can you give other viewers as well some tips on what to do if they have been made redundant and what the next steps are?
Okay, I'll give you a few tips. First of all, being told that you've been made redundant, you've got to think about it. It's not personal. Don't take it personal. Back to the same thing I said, emotional. Don't take it personal, because that's when the negativity comes out. Oh, you want to get rid of me because of this, and the grudges and all these sort of things. And you're non-progressive. You're not going to move on from there. So it's not personal. Companies are doing this all over. It's happening more often than before now, where they had to lay off. It's not you. It's just a situation. They've got to balance things up, and you happen to be the one, right? So there's one. Don't take it personal. The other one is this. Look, be strong about your abilities. Have confidence in your own abilities. Doesn't mean because you've been laid off that you're not good at what you do. You've got to search inside and realize, look, well, I was employed by them. I must be good in the first place. I was being paid for it in the first place. So I need to capitalize on that and take that somewhere else. Now, in taking that somewhere else, here's the other one. You've got to have more of a change in your mindset, in the way you think about it. You can spend time looking back at where I was, what was going to happen if I'd stay there, all these kind of sad things, or you can start seeing this as an opportunity and start changing the mindset and think, wow, great. Because if that didn't happen to Lloyd, he wouldn't be where he is now. He'd still be in that same job, on the same wage, carrying on. So it was a great opportunity. So we got through that as well, changed it into opportunity. Now, not only that, this is a time where you've got to look at your finances as well. You've got to think about it, because you're going through a bit of a struggle at this time, right? So before you go to the finance, let's go back. You have to start with a plan of action, right? Which is what we went into. You've got to start with a plan of action. The steps that you're going to take, do write them down, because the thing about it, it's okay having a plan of action in your head, but our brains can only take so much, and a lot of things jumble in, and the negativity jumps in again. You forget about your plan of action. Write down the steps, at least 5 steps, or even just 3, and stick to it. Work at each day towards where you want to get to, right? You will get there. Then at the end of it, you've got to think about this as well. Your financial situation, it's temporary. Right? So you've got to be wise in your financial situation right there. And don't think, oh, well, I'm getting redundancy, I can go and blow it on this, that, and the other. Look, it's a great opportunity. You can go and do a course. You can pay for a course. You can learn other things. You could build yourself up. You could, but be wise in it. Don't think I've got to go and buy the best this and best that and spend it here and worry about that bill particularly only. Split things up. Be wise in your finances over that temporary period. You were wise in your finances over temporary period, and look what's happened. He's being paid a redundancy and the new job. So, much of that, it works.
Brilliant. Chris, just going back to the plan of action, could you just give us a little example of what kind of things you mean when you're talking about a plan?
Right. Well, one, as I always talk about, is working out your strengths, right? It's something you've got to know what you're good at. So you worked out, as I said, don't start thinking, oh, I'm not good at this, not good at that, right? So there's one. What am I going to do with the strength? Where can I take it? These are transferable skills. They're not meant for just one company, and that was the be-all, end-all. That company is not your life. You've got to realise you've got a life outside of that. So what did I learn while I was there? because you've been there 4 years, 2 years, even 1 year, you've learned something. You've added it to your skills. So we've got to have a plan of action. Now we've got to work out where will that fit? What sort of role, what sort of job would that skill and your personality fit into? Right? That really does make a difference. Your personality as well, going with that personality types we talk about. Right? Now you've got that, you've got to do the job search as well. You've got to actually get out there practically and start looking at every avenue. Now, don't do everything that everybody else does. I know it's a bit naughty saying that, but I always say, and it works, right? You've got a queue there. What do? Down the road, you run and stand behind the queue as well. Right, here we go, there's queue. No, there's 2 cash tills there, go to the other cash till instead. It might be free. So same sort of thing. Don't do everything everybody else done. There's a long queue. Start thinking across instead, not straight lines, no deviations. Think across, be a bit abstract. Other ways of applying for jobs as well, and other avenues, you know. We all go down the line, application forms, this, that, and the other. Sometimes a bit of direct networking really helps. It really does. So you've got to have a plan of action of where you want to be. That's the thing about it. Give yourself a certain amount of time. What was it, 2 months, 1 month? I did say 1 month. 3 weeks. How long was it again? It's only about.
I was given 3 months to find a new job.
Right. So there you go. There's that plan of action. Got to do something within 2 months instead, not 3 months.
Yeah.
So you've got to bring it back and put a little bit of pressure on yourself, so you'll be on it all the time. By the time it comes, you'll be fine.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you, Chris. And just final words from Lloyd. Any advice that you can offer the viewers who are going through redundancy right now?
I'd advise them just to not panic and kind of assess all your options, and obviously speak to those that are close to you, get some advice, because you might have colleagues that have been through redundancy, so you can get some advice of them, or you might just know family and friends who have gone through the same process that can give you the advice that you need to kind of reassure you and know that everything will be okay in the end.
Okay, and how about getting a coach as well, like you did?
Yeah,
definitely.
Is that really good? Definitely. Coach Chris Browne is an amazing guy, and he's really helped me a long way. Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
All right, Lloyd, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you for having
Chris,
me.
thank you so much for the tips for today. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys, so don't go away, because after the break, I'll be joined by Dr. Rob Hicks, who'll be answering all of your medical questions, including this one. How much more water should I be drinking on a hot day? Tune in after the break to find out. And if you have a question for Dr. Rob Hicks, you can email us on doctor@chrissybshow.tv. Hi, I'm Chrissy B, and my show is all about improving your mental health and being happy. Join me every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 10 p.m. on my channel Sky 203. Visit chrissybshow.tv for more information and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Chrissy B Show. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Chrissy B Show, and on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. Welcome back to the program, everyone. So now it's time for our weekly Doctor's Answers with our very own Dr. Rob Hicks. And if you have any questions for Rob, please do contact us on doctor@chrissybshow.tv. Welcome to the show, Rob.
Hi, Chris.
Lovely to have you on.
It's great to be back.
So we did have a question before the break, so we'll get you to answer that one first. And this one says, how much more water should I be drinking on a hot day?
It's a very good question. There's no specific recommendation, because we all sweat at different levels, and the reason why you need to drink more on a hot day, or if you're exercising, or if you're working outdoors, is to replace the fluid that you're losing through the sweat. So generally speaking, on a normal day, we advise people to drink somewhere between 6 and 8 glasses of fluid.
Okay.
The way to do it really is to estimate, how dehydrated you might be. So if you start to feel thirsty, you're already slightly dehydrated, so you need to be drinking more. And the other thing is to, if it's possible, and it's easier for men to do this than for women, is ideally urine should be a pale straw colour when the body's full, properly hydrated. So those are the sort of indications. But basically, if you're feeling a little bit dry, a little bit thirsty, you need to drink more.
A little bit extra. Okay then. Next question, Rob. This person's asking, how do I tell the difference between a first and second degree burn?
Okay, well, the difference between first and second degree, the first degree burn burns the top layer of the skin. There are 3 layers to the skin, and the top layer is the epidermis, and it will look red. It will be slightly swollen, it will be painful, and also it will not blister. So a second degree burn burns both the top and the middle layer, the epidermis and the dermis, and the skin may look pink. It may look a sort of blotchy red. it is often painful, but it may be painless. So if it's going further down and damaging the nerves, you may not feel it at all.
Really?
But it will be blistered.
Okay.
Now, the way that you treat a burn, just to sort of remind people, is obviously move away from the source of what's causing the burn as quickly as possible. You try and get the area under cool or lukewarm water for 20 minutes. If you've got any jewellery or clothing that's close to the burn, remove it, but not if the clothing is stuck to the burn. Don't move it away. Cover it with cling film. And use painkillers. But if you're at all worried about the level of burn and what treatment you need, then seek some medical advice.
Okay, brilliant. Next question. This person's asking, what causes insomnia? I'm not particularly stressed, or don't think I am, but I just can't get to sleep at night.
Well, the first thing is that everybody has some sort of degree of stress. So that could be the cause. Yeah. Lots of different reasons for insomnia. So environment is one. So if the room where you're sleeping is too hot or too cold, if it's not dark enough, if it's not quiet enough, that will cause insomnia. It may be a side effect of medication that you're taking. So have a look at the information leaflet of any medication you have to see if that's the case. Medical conditions like arthritis, for example, that cause pain, and that can cause insomnia. You've already mentioned stress, anxiety, depression. Very, very common symptom of those is insomnia. And the other thing is too much stimulation before going to bed. So if within an hour you're, let's say, doing some exercise, or maybe you're having nicotine in a cigarette or caffeine in coffee, for example, then those sort of things will keep you awake and stop you from going off to sleep. The other thing, modern day technology is a culprit. Checking your phone, checking your tablet for emails and social media, etc. That will keep you awake as well. So sort of things to think about. Obviously, I suggest that you have a medical checkup to find out if there's something going on that you need treatment for, like depression. But in the meantime, think about the sleep hygiene techniques, and we've got a really good doctor's orders on that on the website, so check out that as well, and try and put those things into place. Make sure the environment, for starters, is suitable for a good night's sleep.
Brilliant. Next question, Rob. This person's saying, I've recently been diagnosed with polycystic ovary syndrome. How does that affect my fertility?
Well, polycystic ovary syndrome, what happens with this is that women develop lots of small follicles, they get irregular periods, or the periods disappear, and they get excess of the male hormones, the sort of androgens. Now, as far as fertility is concerned, because a woman with PCOS may get irregular periods or no periods, obviously it's harder to fall pregnant. It's not impossible, but it sometimes takes a bit longer than for somebody who hasn't got polycystic ovarian syndrome. In fact, a friend of mine was diagnosed with the condition and was very concerned that she wouldn't have children. She now has 3 wonderful daughters. So it is basically the effect on fertility is it may slow it down a bit, but it doesn't mean you can't have children if you want them.
Good to know. Next question. What are the common symptoms of a stroke, and can they just happen to anybody?
The answer, as far as can they happen to anybody, the answer is yes. A stroke is more likely as people get older, and they're more likely if you have risk factors for a stroke. So, for example, if you've got uncontrolled high blood pressure, uncontrolled high cholesterol, if you've got uncontrolled diabetes, if you're a smoker, if you're overweight, or you drink too much alcohol, that puts you at greater risk, no matter what age you are. The symptoms, well, we think of the word fast. So the F is for face. So the common symptoms that affect the face is that you get a weakness on one side of the face, so the face looks like it's drooping down. You may find that the mouth is drooping, or the eye is drooping, or that somebody can't smile because they've lost control of those muscles. A is for arms. So they may find that they can't raise both arms and keep one arm raised because of the weakness or numbness that the stroke causes in the arm. S is for speech. So speech may be garbled or difficult to understand, or it may be absent even though the person is fully awake. And the T is for time, because stroke is a medical emergency. So if you're concerned that you or anybody might be having a stroke, you dial 999 and get urgent treatment. But one of the key things to do to reduce your chances of becoming one of the victims of a stroke is to try and eliminate those risk factors.
Brilliant. Thank you, Rob. Next question. Can removing kidney stones cause frequent urination?
That's a really interesting question, and the answer is yes. It all depends, really. at what point after having the stones removed the frequent urination is occurring. So, because it could be a sort of side effect of actually having the procedure done, where sometimes it necessitates a tube being put into the bladder to remove the stones. It could be because you've developed a urinary tract infection and that's what's causing the frequency, or it could be that there's a stone or a fragment still in the bladder and that's irritating the bladder and causing you to want to pee more often. I mean, my advice to you, if you've got this symptom, is to get it checked out with your doctor. It could be a coincidence. It could be simply that actually it's related to caffeine that you're drinking, or you've been advised to drink more to make sure that you are less at risk of developing kidney stones or further kidney stones, or to help flush out minor ones. So that could be the reason. But I would urge you, if you've got that symptom, particularly if you've got any pain or you've got any blood in the urine, then get a checkup done, very, very promptly.
Definitely. Next question, Rob. I'm 45 and I've recently been diagnosed with glue ear. What do I do and how do I prevent it? Can you prevent it if you've got it already?
Well, it's unusual for an adult to get glue ear, which is fluid in the middle ear, which affects hearing, and it can also cause a pressure symptom and sometimes pain. The only real way of trying to prevent it from happening again is not to smoke and to avoid passive smoking.
Okay.
However, there are lots of treatments that I'm sure if you've had a diagnosis, your doctor would have suggested, so it's important to follow those recommendations. The sort of things that you may have been advised is medication, antihistamines, decongestants, maybe antibiotics. There is a way of opening up the tube, it's called the eustachian tube, and it connects from the back of the mouth to the middle ear. It's what controls pressure, where you use something called autoinflation, which you use a balloon, but you try and blow it up with your nostril rather than with your mouth. That helps open up the tube to help the fluid drain, but also to balance the pressures in the middle ear.
Could get messy, couldn't it?
Well, it's done properly, it could be quite good fun, apparently. But and the other thing is to put, we've talked about this on the programme before, is put little plastic tubes into the eardrum called grommets, which again help to balance the pressure. But the major advice is you've had the diagnosis, so you must have been given advice on what treatment's appropriate for you. So please, please, please follow it to the letter.
Okay, and got time for one last question, Rob. This is quite an interesting one. I'd like to know the answer to this
all
one
of
as
the
well.
Other,
well, they're all very good,
yeah,
but this one in particular because it relates to women. So this person's asking, is it true that women's periods sink?
That's a very good question.
Is it true, Rob?
Well, it depends who you speak to. If you speak to the scientists, the answer is no. That there's no scientific evidence that it occurs. But if you speak to women who are sharing a flat, for example, or working in the same environment, they will swear blind that their periods have synchronized. It's something called menstrual synchrony. And as I said, the science says no. There's no evidence it happens.
Yeah.
But in real life, you'll have people who.
Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, everyone, where today we've been talking all about redundancy. Now, before the break, I tested your memory and asked you how much notice period should you receive if you've been working at a company between 1 week and 2 years? Is it A, 1 week, B, 2 weeks, or C, 1 month? Well, the answer is at the very least 1 week. You may find that a lot of companies give you a lot more notice than this though. Well, clearly redundancy can be an incredibly stressful period that can have a serious impact on a person's mental health. As we heard earlier, there is a link between suicide rates and unemployment. With that in mind, my tips tonight are going to be based on staying positive in difficult times. And before I give them to you, I wanted to share this video from the Mental Health channel with you about how one young woman managed to stay positive and hopeful despite being on a long transplant list with time quickly running out. It just goes to show that even in the darkest periods in life, there's always hope. Let's take a look.
It's actually fun to ride in an ambulance, did you know? They just go through all the stop signs. Let's see how many times I ever went on an ambulance. Gotta be over 20. More like 50. I have chronic kidney disease, stage 5, which is also known as end-stage renal disease. One day I became so sick, I came to the hospital. The doctor said, at this point, your kidney has no function at all, it's below 2%. My mom worries more than I do. Most of the time, I am comforting her from crying about my health issues. I feel depressed sometimes, anxious, stressed out, and I cry. And I cry until I feel like I let out all my feelings. I look at everybody around me. I know I'm not alone and that there are so many obstacles in this world every person is dealing with themselves. I was with a pediatric clinic for 5 years. Recently, they transferred me to the adult clinic. There's connection and comfort that you feel with the pediatric doctors. Oh my God, Dr. Hotchkiss.
It's so good to see you. It's so good to see you.
I missed you.
It's so good to see you.
I missed you so much. I'm sorry, I just missed everyone so much.
I've known Arifa a long time, and she's honest and open about her fears. She has persevered through this.
How are you? How's everybody else?
Here we are. We were thinking about you and want to know how you're feeling and how you're doing.
I'm okay. You know, I'll always be okay. If something terrible was to happen to me, God forbid, or like I died or something, I know my older sister is there, my younger sister is there. They're both there for my mom. And I really believe in them. This is a fistula. It is an artery and a vein put together. It is done to enlarge it, so there is enough blood flow for the dialysis machine. They stick like 2 really, really fat needles. One takes out the blood and the other one puts back the filtered blood inside. Oh, my mom is so sweet. You know, I never wanted to get this because it looks ugly, but I learned to accept it. I think it's pretty cool. Please. Oh my God.
Can you tell me the story of why you have 2 birthdays?
Well, my dad forgot my real birthday and he put the wrong birthday on my birth certificate. So technically, it's my birthday and not my birthday. I don't know what to say.
So why is that important though?
It is important because if this wasn't my birthday, I would have gotten on the pediatric transplant list, and I would have still been with you guys.
When children are born in Bangladesh, they're often born in their homes, and their birth dates are not recorded on a birth certificate the way they are in the United States. Had she been listed by her chronologic correct age, she would have a kidney by now.
But since I am not on the children's list, I have to now wait for 7 to 10 years.
We can't control what life throws our way, but we can control how we respond to it, and you are an incredible young woman. If I would tell patients that my mother had kidney failure, it always seemed to me that their natural question would be, how is she? And I never wanted to tell any of them that she had died.
I came to a big realization that, there is a lot of people in this world that is sad, and we have to find the little things in life that makes us happy. Otherwise, we will never be happy. I want to complete my college degree, and I also want to get a good job, support my family, and make a positive difference in the lives of anyone I meet. How do I keep the hope? I hope with no expectation.
Thank you very much to the Mental Health channel for that video, and if you'd like to know more about them, you can head over to our website, chrissybshow.tv, and click on our contributors section. So now here are my tips on staying positive in difficult times, and these refer more to the employment side of things. So the first point is to see the opportunities. So when there's an unexpected change in your life, it can seem quite scary and it can seem really negative. And I've spoken to a number of guests on this program who initially thought that something really bad had happened to them. And one I can remember is a lady who was actually made redundant, like Lloyd was. And the other one was someone that had gotten really sick due to a very hectic work schedule. But both of them actually ended up entering into a completely different career path, which they now absolutely love. So what seemed really, really bad actually turned out amazingly well for both of them. So when it seems like maybe things are falling apart and things are just too much for you at the moment, remember there are opportunities all around you and they're just waiting for you to grab them and make the most of them. The second point is to focus on what's good. So this one is more about counting your blessings and not actually forgetting the other wonderful things that you have in your life. So you may feel like you've lost something and you might not have everything that you want right now, but as long as you're breathing, you are able to change any negative situation. Let's go to the third point, which is to work towards a goal. So staying positive is a lot easier when you're actually working towards something that you care about. So you can still be productive, even though maybe you've lost something, or maybe you've lost your job, or something's happened to you that you perceive as quite negative, but don't let that make you kind of just give up on everything. So set yourself some goals, whether in your personal life, whether in career, whether in your health. So you've actually got something to work towards and keep your mind occupied as well. The fourth point is to look after yourself. So when you're feeling a bit low because of tough times, it's very tempting to let yourself go, maybe in the way you eat, maybe you stop exercising, and even not want to make much effort with the way you look. So don't give in to these things. Still value yourself. Get moving, eat the right kind of food, put something nice on and do yourself up and face the world. It will make you feel a lot better. Well, everyone, we have reached the end of today's program, but if you have a story that you would like to share, or perhaps you have a comment for us about one of our programs, we do love to hear from our viewers. Please do email us on info@chrissybshow.tv. You can also tweet us at Chrissy B Show or leave a message on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. And if you'd like to know more about me and how I beat depression and other mental health issues, you can visit my website, which is mylifeafterdepression.com. Till next time, bye for now. Are you ready? It's a bit hot in here.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Oh, we're not going to do this thing again. Right, sorry. You know, it feels like we're squashed up on this chair and you go, hi, Chrissy. I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything.
Should I say hi, Chrissy, first and you say it?
Yeah, because when I look at there and I see Stu going, hi, Chrissy. Like,
In 3, 2, 1.
Okay. I'm fine now.
all right, let's do it.
Right, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Hi, Chrissy.
I think you must do it yourself. I think you should do it yourself. I'm sorry. Let's get this on. Let's go. Go.
It's sweaty.
Oh, man.
Well, that powder's gone.
Yeah. Well, that was hard work, my friend.
Right.
Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Hi, Chrissy.
Chrissy.